Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Five Deep, Five Weirdos from around the globe. Let's start. How's it going, guys?
Hola.
Hello.
How's it going?
Coming at you live from the Sonic Drive-In.
The where?
Sonic. It's a junk
joke.
food. I'm just getting a cup of ice, but it's a junk food mega restaurant in U.S. that everybody loves to eat at.
Can you get me a cup of ice, please? Because I'm roasting my ass off here. Yes, people, I am wearing a woolly hat. It's because I've got a pair of Technics headphones that I've had for the last 15 years that are my babies, and one of them have just broken beyond repair about 5 minutes before we went live. And like Harmony said, they cost a lot of money, and just be grateful that you've had them for 15 years and all that lot. But I didn't want them to break 5 minutes just before we're going live. Do you know what I mean? So I've had to keep them in place wearing a woolly hat, and now I'm roasting my ass off. But all is good in the hood. How's it going, Rodney? You got to turn the microphone on, mate, and then people can hear you. That's the man. That's the way. Yeah. Lee, how are you? While he gets his life sorted, how's you, Lee?
Yeah, fucking top stuff, man. Unstoppable, mate.
You look you all sit back and comfy and looking relaxed. You're looking cool, man. How is it?
Fucking hanging, mate. Great stuff.
Hanging.
Just
right, Rodney, are you ready?
I think so.
Yeah, man.
somebody muted my mic. I think it was me.
Cool. You doing all right? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, pretty good week. And the only thing I did the dumb shit before going live. I took like a little quick power nap, so I'm a little bit foggy right now, trying to gather myself.
Yeah. What about you, old Howard, up in the International Space Station? Are you feeling good?
Feeling weightless right now.
You're feeling weightless.
Feeling
good. Sweet. Right. Well, let's get rocking and rolling. Lee is in the hot seat.
Wait a minute.
What?
Did you ask Harmony how she was feeling?
Yeah, we've spoken to Harmony. Harmony, how are you feeling? I'll just say it again. How are you feeling?
Top notch. Double thumbs up. Can't complain.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
My friend is in town. You're live on YouTube also. She came to visit me from Vero Beach, Florida. She flew in on Friday. She leaves in the morning. So I have been taking her out. You'll see my pictures. I took her out to a place in Madison County, North Carolina today called Lover's Leap. So we did about 3.5 mile hike and went up and took her I've been showing her around Asheville for the last few days. So it's been really fun.
Hunting out the new spots of Asheville and that, have you? That's what you've been up to?
I'm going hunting on Friday for the weekend.
Sweet. Ideal. Well, sure. Have I got permission now to carry on, Rodney? Is that all right?
Listen, man, I just saw something and I tried to,
Well, this bloody hat is hot. I
You
tell
were
you.
looking out for me. I cannot wait to see your fucking beanied head on my big screen TV in my living room. This is going to be amazing, and I'm putting it all over Instagram.
I'll tell you what.
You look so adorable.
It does feel like I've got a big afro on my head. It really, really does. But I'm going to call it the Cornish Jaffro. That's what I'm going to call it. The J-fro, like big perm.
Do you think that your ancestor, the one that was being a dickhead to you last night on your ghost hunt, do you think he'd be cool with that beanie look?
He tell me to fuck off like he did.
That story was I haven't had a chance to check in, but that is so interesting, Mark.
Shall I tell people?
Yes, you should. At some point, but on our live YouTube, you definitely need to talk about it. It's very interesting.
Right, well, people, this weekend I went out on one of my ghostly, gooly ghost hunts, and we went to a place in Devon called the Guildhall. And this place goes back many, many, many moons. And Tavistock was built on a monastery, and it's got loads and loads and loads of history evolved around it. And for the last 200 years, it's been a courtroom with 4 prison cells underneath. And we was doing a ghost hunt in this place, and I was in one of the cells, just sat there with a audio recorder, just recorded me, sat in a room by myself, shitting it out because I'm in a prison cell with the door shut. And next minute, there's the cell next to us. There's 4 people in there doing some glass work around the table, which is almost like a Ouija board, but without the Ouija board. It's a table, and you put your finger on the glass, and you ask the spirits questions, and it moves for yes, and it moves for no. That's that kind of thing. And we was next minute I was told, Mark, come in here. There's somebody calling you up. There's a spirit that wants to speak to you. And I went into the next room, and it was a distant relative, wanting to speak to me. And it was Judge Jeffrey, the West Country hanging judge, which is a long distance relative to me. And when I spoke to him, he just basically told me to fuck off 2 times, and then he started getting really narky and rowdy. But it was really cool. And so people don't mess with me, because my distant relative was Judge Jeffrey, the West Country hanging judge. Have you ever heard of him, Lee?
No, but I could just imagine somebody go, Mark, come here. Fuck off.
Yeah, see, even the spirits are dissing me. Long distance relative spirits that haven't been on the earth plane for like 400 years, even they're dissing me and having a go. So
You're playing with fire, sir. You're playing with
don't
fire
you
when we do
stop.
spirits.
It's
Don't mess
fun.
with spirits. There's a
Have you
reason why they're in the spirit realm and we're here. No, separate them.
You might enjoy it, mate, having the willies put up, yeah.
I would be peeing in my pants.
So anyway,
I just want to know what Harmony was. I'm just watching Harmony the whole time. She was so animated there. It looked like she was about to get out of the car, beat up the person that's Sonic.
no,
Her arms are waving around.
You're looking at Harmony because she's got another female in the car. That's what you do, you pervert.
I will not do
Yeah,
that.
you know, I don't run with women that often. I'm a lone wolf.
She's a lone wolf. Anyway, let's get this show going, guys. For they've just joined us in YouTube, Lee is in the hot seat there tonight, so we're gonna have a little bit of a chat to him and find out what he's been getting up to and any issues that he's got going on in his life that he wants to address. That's the sort of thing that we do. So if you've got any questions for Lee or got any questions for any one of us in the room, don't feel that you can't put them up. Drop them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Like and share and all the sort of stuff that you YouTubers do out there. And Lee, over to you. How is your life a cracking? What's been going on the Lee Earth plane as of late?
I've been doing loads, but nothing really interesting to talk about, if I'm honest. Reading loads of books, watching loads of YouTube videos, consuming certain personalities on YouTube and Rumble, and just trying to refine the shit that I'm doing. Really, I've been thinking about it most of the day today about what topic am I going to bring to the table, and I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. The only thing I have been doing is I took a little bit of a break from social media recently, a couple of 3 weeks off Instagram and TikTok, and was messing with some stuff. But I guess if I was to, I don't know, perhaps complain about something or bring something up, it would be trying to stay focused on one thing I'm struggling with. I do advocate for whoever I speak to or anybody I not necessarily give advice to, but sort of point in the right direction, based off of knowledge that I've consumed over the last 5 years. Do one thing and do one thing well. But much like yourself, Mark, I sort of have an idea and then I go balls deep into that, and then I guess I get bored, and then something else shiny comes along and I go, oh, that looks good, I'll go balls deep into that. And I don't tinker, I literally go in, heavy. But I get distracted, and then, after a couple of 3 months, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I still haven't finished that book. And I'm still listening to this podcast, but I've got bored of that one. So although I tell people to, what's the word I can use? Because coaches don't tell people what to do. They just advise, I guess. What would you say to try and make somebody, or to try and encourage somebody to just stick to the one thing?
Well, we'll go around the room and ask that question to everybody around the room. But I would say Van Gogh didn't paint one picture in one go. He had about...
Hold on. Whoa. Slow down.
Easy.
Let's start over. Who?
Van
Right.
Gogh.
Now carry on.
I was waiting
right.
for it.
I got a feeling that something was going to kick off then.
Van Gogh?
Yeah.
No.
What do you mean?
Mark,
No.
Mark, come here. Mark. Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, Van Gogh.
I haven't done what you're talking about. Enlighten me.
It's Van Gogh?
It's not in my world. It's Van Gogh.
Okay,
How's
I
it
mean, you
spelled?
know, tomato, tomato, potato, potato.
How do you say it, Lee?
Van Gogh.
They all-
That's like me. There's not a two. That's not like it's his actual name. It's Van Gogh. It's not Van Gogh. It's not like I'm going to get in here and call you Mac Joffreys.
It's like
What was his first name?
it's like David Bowie or David
Van?
Bowie.
Really?
David Bowie or David Bowie.
Or
What was
Bowie.
his first name? Nathan.
David Bowie.
I've heard it both ways, Van Gogh or Van Gogh. So I'm quite easy
I'm
either
not
way.
going to be on the call.
But everybody
Oh,
in the
Vincent
UK
won it.
calls him Van Gogh. So
Where was he from?
Cornwall.
I was going to say Salisbury. He's from Wexford.
Anyway, all right. Well, forget Van Gogh or forget Van Gogh. Any artist that I know will be painting more than one picture at once, and I'll leave it at that and see what anybody else has to say in the group.
I would say, you how long you been working at the job you working?
10 years.
10 years. So it's not like you're wishy-washy with your work and your major habits. It's just things that you find interesting, and you have the guts, and you don't and the balls to say, you know what, let me try something else. I might stick with the damn thing forever. You know what I'm saying? And not even attempt to go some other direction to say, well, I didn't really finish this, so I don't want to look like I failed at it or whatever. You said, let me try this. So I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as it doesn't like spill over into, start affecting your life. If you feel like it's affecting your life, then yeah, we can, in my opinion, we can have a deeper conversation.
Howard?
Kind of one on Rodney brought up. Listening to it, what you said on your job for 10 years, is it an issue is because with your job, you're guaranteed to get results from it. And results, I mean, paid. You know that if you're going to put in, whatever, an 8-hour day, whatever, that you're going to get paid for it. But when you're trying to start your own thing, you're not seeing the instantaneous results. I guess in this case, I would say money. You're not getting paid right away. You have to have faith that down the road it's going to work. And so let me go on to something else, because maybe you're not getting what you consider to be the results that you're looking for quickly enough. So you're just bouncing around thinking that something's going to change. But if you don't put in, and I'm dealing with this myself, if you don't put in the work over a period of time, then you're not going to see the results. You're just constantly going to different things. So that's what I think of.
Lady Garcia?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I kind of like backing up what Howard said and a little bit about what Rodney said as well. Like, I think that it's that basic belief. I can speak from my vantage point. It's that basic belief system. And if I do this, am I going to get a return on my investment? And if there's not a real big belief in the fact that you're going to gain something from it, then I think in human nature, we kind of lose interest, right? Whether that's a relationship, a job, something you're trying to learn about. I mean, I think we're all kind of wired up that way that's the fork in the road, right? Is what you're at that fork in the road where you're getting kind of bored with something. What do you do in that moment? Do you sit down and journal, or do you make yourself very mindful of, okay, why right now am I getting bored with this topic, and why am I feeling myself pulling away from it? That would be a good moment to say, when you feel like giving up, maybe that's the fucking make or break. Like when you're at that fork in the road and you're like, I think I'll stop reading this book and start reading that book. Not that there's anything wrong with it. But what if you didn't stop reading that book and you kept going and you forced yourself and you pushed through that discomfort, that all that, that kind of flighty, I guess there's so many ways we can look at it. And you pushed through and you finished the course, or you finished the book before you started something new. would there be a different outcome? I think that would be a different, I noticed that in my life, in times, because like I said, we're all like that. When I felt like I wasn't getting a return on my investment and I wanted to stop and start something else, which I've done 1,000,001 times, there's a couple things in my life where I push through. Engage is one of those things, this talent agency. And I pushed through, even though I felt like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep putting in for jobs, and I'm going to keep like doing my best to improve myself through appearance and diet and exercise, and all that shit you guys know I do. And it seems as though now it's paying off. You know what I mean? Because I pushed through, like saying, oh, fuck it. I'm never going to do commercials. Nobody's ever going to want to hire me. I pushed through all that negative narrative and said, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying. I invested the money to be a part of Gage Talent Agency to begin with. I'm going to see if anything comes of it. And I got to say, I'm so glad I did push through that discomfort and that like period of time where I was losing interest in it, because I booked, as of about an hour ago, I booked another gig for about a week and a half from now for $1,000. And I gotta say though, Lee, it's nothing wrong with what we've all done it. We all will continue to do it. It's hard to push through when you feel like, is this going to be fucking worth it? If I read the rest of this book, is it going to be worth it? If I finish this course, is it going to be worth it? So that's where us all having each other comes in handy, because we kind of keep each other on our toes. I know and I mentioned this to you, a lot of what I've accomplished in my life is because I've had y'all's support.
I think that is loads of great advice from all of us there, Lee, because I've always been hard on myself in the last 3 or 4 years, because I was a radio presenter and I wanted to get more listeners, and I was a podcaster because I wanted to get more views, and now I'm doing YouTube, and I could consider myself a content creator. And I was sat there one evening, I was saying, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing that and I should be concentrating on this. And you've said it yourself to me, well, how about perfecting one thing? And what I have said to myself now is that I want to interact with as many people in my lifetime and chat to as many people in my lifetime as I possibly can. I want to chat to 1 million people, have 1 million conversations. So why specifically focus on a podcast when I can speak to people on Twitter, I can speak to people on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts, any sort of lives on the street? So for me personally, I'm going through loads of different directions, speaking to loads of different people on loads of different mediums. For me, there's no right or wrong answer. And I haven't done a podcast for 2 months or whatnot, but I've been on TikTok building that audience up, ready to go live on that. And I haven't been on Instagram, but I've been over here and I've been doing that. So for me, I've taken the pressure off myself, and as long as I know that I am doing something and I'm not just sitting on my ass doing nothing, I'm actually doing something with my life, I'm happy with that. So I've taken. Go on, Harmony.
No, you finished. I thought you were. I was just want to say something like, wow, because I don't want to stay on the whole call, because I've got my friend. I'm getting ready to take her up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, but I did want. And I'll follow up in the Voxer group. I just didn't want to not come on the call because I love Lee to death, and I want to support him being in the hot seat. But I did want to say, I would say what I know about the things that you're dabbling in, Lee, they're all stuff that are like kind of collectively helping you become a better coach. And that's your ultimate goal. So it would be another thing if you were like, this week I want to go learn how to play chess, and next week I want to go learn how to play video games, and this week I want to go. I'm not saying maybe some of that could help you with coaching, but I would say in general what you're doing is all geared in the same family of becoming a really great coach, a really great helper, a really great support system. And there's really no right or wrong way to do that. I think it's really awesome because all the time I've invested in learning, and I'm listening to like 4 Audible books right now. And I might listen to one tomorrow, and I might not listen again for 2 weeks. I'll go listen to another one. So the thing is about all the things I'm taking in all the time, they're all in the same family of helping me to become a better helper, a better coach. And what I've noticed after all these years of taking in all this information is none of that, even though I was bouncing around like a chicken with my head cut off, doing this course, take me 6 months to finish a course that should take me 2 weeks. I'm listening to this podcast, listening to that fucking book. I think what I've noticed is I've been, however I did it, whether I was this way, that way, all over the fucking map, I've been, at the end of the day, I've been soaking in all that information. You know what I mean? And ultimately, it's all kind of collectively come together in this big giant puzzle where, yes, I might on the outside looking in have appeared to be scattered the way that I was taking in information because it was really what I was in the mood to learn about at the time. But it really wasn't wasted time because it's all up here. And I've found that they've all kind of come together to help me get to an end goal, which my end goal is to be the best helper I can for women. And so I did want to just tell you that all of the things that you're taking in are helping you with your ultimate goal, which is to be a coach for, young men and men in general and people in general. So I think maybe that would make you feel better about the way that you've been maybe in your mind bouncing around because it's all geared towards what you're trying to do. Right?
Yeah. 100%.
And
go on, Rodney. Sorry, mate.
I was gonna just piggyback off of that. When you look at some of the coaches or people that we enjoy listening to, you could name any of them. We like to talk about Rogan. He could pretty much talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? When he's talking, you like the Jordan Petersons or the Eric Thomases or even like Top G. And you take like when you see people talking to him, right? They ask them all sorts of questions. And the information that they're, you can tell that they've either been well read or they listen to a lot of things or, they consume lots of different kinds of information because they can talk in the middle of a conversation about aliens. Joe Rogan can tell you some random fact about some polar bears that, blah, blah, blah. So you may think it's, information, or you may think you're not, you're jumping all over the place, but you're gathering information. And the other thing is too, like for somebody like me, my job is repetitive. So it's the same thing. It's almost, I want to say it's mindless drones because I have to actually do things here and there, but there's very few things that happen that don't happen on a daily basis. Every now and then there's an odd little thing, but basically there's really no room for me to be creative in these situations. This is the job and this is what you do. The stuff that we do outside of, that's why I was asking you about your work. You've been at that job for 10 years. It's not, obviously it doesn't move you because you're searching for other things, but creatively, there's not much required. It's not as much required as it is to, potentially give somebody direction for a worldly problem. What I do may help me in some capacity, but I would, I have to read and listen to all kinds of things because if I want to coach or I want to guide people, unless I'm going to say I'm only going to talk to people who are 6 foot and dark skin, and like unless I narrow it down to that where people
Racist.
By the way, you look like that little boy from
Oh, here we go. Here's the insults. Come on, carry on.
I'm saying he looked like the little boy. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. The little kid with the
Story.
Christmas Story. Yeah.
Christmas Story. That's who you look like.
Me?
Of course, Mark's never seen the movie, right?
Mark, come here, Mark. Nah. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah, you'll shoot your eye. Okay, you don't know that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
What film are we looking up at? I'll look it up.
A Christmas Story. It's only one of the most popular in the top 5 most popular Christmas movies of all time.
Oh, that's debatable.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. I've never heard of it.
If you listen,
okay, well, what are your top 5 Christmas movies then? Go.
Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Hard 3.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
When you get after 2, I'm Die Hard. I'm out. 1 and 2.
Yeah, after 2.
I've not actually seen any of them.
Is Gremlins a Christmas movie?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, well, there you are. Yeah. Can I just add to what we was talking about there, Lee, as well? And I done a TikTok on this about a week ago, and I know Harmony said it because she commented on it today. But basically, at the end of the day, do you consider that you've done enough, that you've been doing stuff in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks? Have you been doing stuff?
Yes.
Right. So at the end of the day, just give yourself some grace. At the end of it, you know that you've been working behind the scenes, and that you've been working hard, and how much you've been achieving. And I put on this TikTok, for the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot of shit gone on in our lives. Us here in the UK, we've had to deal with the constant going on about about fucking Brexit. We've had to deal with COVID. We've had to deal with,
Forest.
you know, about all the bombing in Ukraine, and there could be the fact that we could be nuked tomorrow. All this shit that's going on, stuff that we've never seen before, that, you know, it does affect us deep down. We've all, every one of us at some point sat down and ate an extra bag of crisps when we wouldn't normally do it. And what I'm trying to say on the podcast or the TikTok is that as long as we don't keep on doing that same shit, sitting down eating the bag of crisps every day, as long as we don't keep on doing that, right, then we're achieving something. And just everybody to give ourselves a little bit of grace, because we have been through unusual times, you know. And it's as long as you pick yourself up, you are here. You haven't been on talking to us on Voxer very much recently, but tonight you are here, right? So you are here. So you've stepped up. You've stepped out. So I think a lot of the time it's down to you. If you know that you've done enough, if you haven't done enough, you're here. If you have done enough and you're happy, just give yourself some grace. That's what I would kind of say.
And I do want to say one thing to kind of follow up on that is pay close attention to where you're feeling stressed. Like it's pretty obvious when we feel good about choices we've made. You know, that's easy to focus our attention on. It's easy to celebrate and talk about and share with our loved ones when we've done something good. But what about those times where you have just full stop, you feel like you've let yourself down? And regardless of what avenue of your life you're speaking of that in, whether it's your food choices, your exercise or lack thereof, or your career or your relationships, or your coaching, whatever it is, shame and guilt are emotions that we have that suck. We all agree upon that. But just like anything in life, the negative things are there to serve us a purpose. They're there to trigger us to know that something needs to shift. So I would say just take mental notes of when you're feeling a little bit of sense of shame and guilt around whatever that is. I really, you know, if like you have a thought cross your head and you're like, fuck, I didn't ever finish listening to that Audible book. I've been trying to listen to it for 3 months. I would just, instead of beating up on yourself, just focus in on that guilt or whatever your negative emotion you've got wrapped up in that and say, why didn't I finish that book?
Yeah.
And is it just because legitimately it's not interesting me? It's not challenging me. It's not something that I feel like I need to know. That's a real thing. Sometimes you start a book and it fucking sucks and you don't want to finish it. That's okay. That doesn't mean it's your fault, you know? Or maybe you started reading the book and you feel like it's not supporting what you're trying to learn. That's okay too. That's not on you. That's on it's just not a good match, right? So I would just be more mindful of those times that you're feeling like you're possibly doing something, air quote, wrong in your growth and personal development and your goals and all that shit. And really just ask yourself, I'm going to steal this from Byron Katie, who's one of my most favoriteest personal development authors, muses, coaches, whatever you want to call her. Her thing is when you've got a wave of emotion coming over you in any way, good or bad, but especially with negative emotion, because that's what we get stressed from. That's what makes us feel like shit. When you have a wave of feeling wash over you, stop yourself and ask yourself, is this true? Is the narrative that is going through my head about said situation true? Or is this something that I'm projecting from something that happened to me in my past, something that happened to me when I was a child, something that happened to me with my spouse, whatever. But stop and like actually think about it. Don't just like busy yourself like we all do as humans and move on and be like, I'll deal with it next time. Like actually stop and give it some fucking attention. You know, and I think that it's very easy for us as human beings when life hits us and it throws us a curveball, as it will, that we all are guilty of this, because who wants to fucking feel like shit? Nobody wants to feel like shit, but we generally sweep it under the rug and move on to the next thing in the hopes that it's going to go away. And we all know that it's not going to go away. Whatever that is, it's going to come back. As soon as you quit scrolling, you quit gaming, you quit eating, you quit drinking, it's going to fucking come back up. So you might as well just give it the attention it needs and either, you know, deal with it and let it be removed from your life or let it be a learning opportunity. Right? I mean, so pay attention to those moments. I'm going to say this and I'm going to let you go because I'm taking her up on a little tour, but I do want to say those moments where you've got negative feeling associated with whatever you're telling yourself, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, because we're really good about shitting on ourselves, right? Ask yourself, why should you be doing that? And maybe you shouldn't be fucking doing that. Maybe your energy is better put into something else. You know, so I would say to like piggyback on what Mark said, give yourself some grace. You showed up tonight. You've continued to show up for the last, what, are we on 3-year mark in this group?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. You're still here. You're still showing up. No matter how many times I get on and rant and rave and pick and do all the things in the Voxer group or on YouTube, you still show up. It's still this beautiful, great core group of 5 people. And I think that that's the important focus, is that, yes, you might be jumping around from this, that, and the other thing, but you're at the end of the day, you're fucking showing up, Lee. And you know, I'm going to say this and I'll let you guys go. And I hope this makes you feel good, as I've been watching from the sidelines. And I know that every single one of the guys in here will agree, you're a different man than you were 6 months ago. You're a different man than you were 12 months ago or 2 years ago. You're a different man. You have grown. I've watched it happen. I'm not saying this to blow smoke up your ass, but you have improved. You've fallen down. You've got knocked down. You've been through, you know, bouts of feeling like shit, you know, challenges with family, moving, all that shit. And you still have fucking shown up. Even if you're quiet and Voxer here and there, we all know at this point, it's because you're processing. We don't take it personal. So I'm just going to leave you with this. Yes, you might be bouncing around. And obviously, I think it's good that we all have concerns, because that means you're paying close attention to what's going on in your life and you want to improve. And that's a win. But I just want to say, over the time that I've been able to experience being in a group with you, you have changed, you have matured, and you've shown up, and your TikToks are killer. Your Instagrams are killer. They're engaging. They're filmed beautifully. Like, I'm just going to give you a big time kudos. I'm not going to bust your balls, because I'm very proud of you and how you've shown up and what you've accomplished. And you're getting grown, baby, and I love it. I think it's amazing. So I'm just very proud of you. I'm going to let you go, because if not, I'm going to start tearing up, because I have a deep love for all 4 of you fuckers. But
crying.
I will find you on Voxer. I love you guys. I'm so proud of each of you. And thank you for whoever's watching right now, the YouTube people. And I love you guys, and I'll see you in Voxer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harmony Garcia.
Now piss off, showing us all up. Go on, take
I don't know how to get out of it.
your sorry cry ass off with your friend.
Just
Go on.
don't.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Friends.
And with that, we don't need to continue the show anymore.
Now let's go. We've busted Lee's asses. Can I just say there, Lee, as well, moving on from what Harmony said there, you know, the last month or so, well, probably 2 months, I've been working to get 1,000 followers on TikTok, which for a lot of people out in the world there, that they can achieve that in a day. But just going on the back of what Harmony said there, you know, with your TikTok, the amount of views and follows and likes and subscribers and whatever you call it on there, you know, you've done amazing things, mate, you know, and that's a platform that you've excelled on. That it could be your zone of genius. I don't know, but you know, just think of that as well. There's not a lot of people, when you look at the percentage of people in the world that have got the amount of followers that you have on TikTok, you'd be up there. Do you know what I mean? So you've done really, really well. So give yourself a tap on the back for that, mate.
Yeah. I think I get very impatient when
We all do.
When I see people's experience of the world, and how I see a lot of people complain and moan and bitch about, oh, I'm overweight, I've got no money, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it all boils down, for me, it all boils down to your mindset and how you see yourself in the world. I believe you can fix any problem by adjusting your mindset. And what I find really, really frustrating is that I go online and I set out a framework of how to, I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't tell anybody what to do. I give people a different perspective. So, you know, people can complain and say, oh, my life's shit. It's not, you know, I never get anywhere. And it's like, how long have you been telling yourself that? Well, you know, ages. Life's shit. It's always been shit. Well, that's why your life's shit, because you keep telling yourself your life's shit. If you could just take a little step back, tweak your little the way you think. But what I find really frustrating is I can go online and say all these things and create all these videos, and it feels like, or at least the analytics are saying, nobody's listening, nobody's paying any attention. And then I question that nobody's paying attention because they don't care, because they're in their own little space. They're not fucking paying attention because they've got their own problems to deal with. They're not interested in me, saying, open your eyes a little bit, or take the blinkers off because you might see a little bit more. And it gets almost to the point where I go, do you know what? Why fucking bother?
What?
But that doesn't stop me from consuming as much information as I possibly can. Reading books, listening to podcasts, and I can pontificate on a lot of things. I know a little bit about a lot of shit. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the demographic that I've got following me on the social medias that it just kind of switch off.
Yeah.
And
I understand.
it doesn't matter how much value I try and give. It gets to the point where I go, is anybody fucking listening?
I understand that 100% because I have been in that same boat in the past. And you interview somebody and you think I'm going to get thousands of people listening to this, and you get like 20 people listening to it, and you just think, right, I've just worked 2 weeks to get this guest. I've just spent 8 hours drumming up some lovely notes to talk to him, and I've had 20 people listen. And the way I look at this now, Lee, is that the reason why it's not the fact that people don't want to be listening to you and they're not interested in what you're saying. It's the fact that they haven't found you yet. That's what I say to myself. They haven't found me yet. And say to yourself, they haven't found me yet, but they will find me one day, right? And when they do find me, look at all this amazing information and valuable content that I've got to share to the world. You see all of these people out there that haven't been found, and then all of a sudden they put one post up and it goes viral, and then all of a sudden they see all their other posts going viral because people find you and they like what they see, and then they like and they subscribe. So set yourself a challenge, Lee. Rather than saying to yourself, right, try and do 2 or 3 pieces of content a day, or 2 or 3 pieces of content a week more than what you're doing. Just keep on chucking the content, the stuff out there. Have fun with it, right? And then one day that will come when you least expect it, and then all of a sudden you'll just see it just go massive, But you've got to be enjoying what you're doing. There's no point in doing it just for the sake of doing it to get those numbers. Enjoy what you're doing, and then if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Over to you, Rodney.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
also,
I just want to say one thing quickly. You've just made me think of something a little bit differently there. Then, don't create content for numbers and attention. I should be building a library of content. I like that. Thanks for that.
So I was going to piggyback off of that, kind of in the same direction where, people don't know who you are. People, human nature is to attach on to, the winner. You know what I'm saying? When somebody gets popular, you can just pretty much say, you've tuned into something and you're like, this is not, this information is not that good. It's not profound. This is, but people, once you get that following, that's when, people want to see a winner. People want to congratulate. They want to glam on to the person that's, at the time, and for, good, right, bad, or good, bad, or indifferent. The social media game essentially becomes a popularity contest, so people will share your stuff if they say, oh, look at that Lee. Did you see what Lee said? Did you see what Lee, you're editing your messaging to me is great. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram, but when I do, I usually check out your videos. I got to comment a little bit more, but I usually check out your videos. One in particular was very interesting.
Which one?
The one about telling women, you gave some advice to women. I'll just see.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I'm saying, like,
hey, it's true.
But part of the thing is, though, this, you, like Mark was saying, you and like you just said, creating a library, and the library has to be true to you as well. So trying to figure out, like, trying to go viral. There's a million things that you can do and say that's provocative that would get people to be like, oh shit, and tune into it. That's not what you're in it for. If you wanted to do that, you can do that. You can turn on the camera, scream, say, talk about a certain politician or a certain, content creator or a certain musician, and go on, and you'll be known as the guy who does that. But that's not what you're trying to do. So, just, I think, just not enough eyes have been on you yet. Once you get the eyes on you, then it'll be a little easier. I was also tell you that if there's opportunities for you to pull up to other people's, like Mark's talking about going live, if there's opportunities, if somebody's live, that you can pull up and get up there on a bigger platform and actually have a conversation too. Because I know that's a way where you can get eyes on you, because usually, that conversation can lead to, there's people in the audience listening and talk, oh, that dude's interesting. I gave you the example about the lady on Clubhouse, going and making an episode about, just from that conversation. But if she wasn't in there to hear that conversation, she would never done it. So it's a timing thing too. So, but keep on doing it, man. Fuck all that.
How many followers have you got on TikTok?
17,500 at the moment.
17,500. Come over to you in a minute there, Howard. You got 17,500. I've been fighting for the last month, working hard behind the scenes to get to 1,000, right? I've been interacting and chatting and enjoying learning TikTok, right, for the last month, if not more. I'm now up to about 820. What is stopping you going on TikTok live and just chatting shit and telling the world about what you do? I guarantee you, man, you would just see your numbers going up, and just have a chat, interact with people. I mean, we was going on about building your library. How many times have you, and here's an example for me. I was in the 90s driving along in my car, and this band come on called the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'd never ever heard any of their shit whatsoever. And I said to my mate, I said, fucking hell. I said, have you heard of this fantastic new band called the Chili's? My mate goes, they've been around for fucking years. They've been around for like 10, 15 years, mate. I'm like, really? Now, the Chili's have been out there producing music for 15 years before I found them. And when I found them, there was 3 albums worth of material there. And I went on, we didn't have Spotify and that back then. It would be a case of going on and, downloading it illegally or something.
LimeWire,
yeah.
But I found hours and hours of their material, and I just consumed it for about the next week or so. And that's kind of right where I'm getting at. Get out there, spread the word, make the material, enjoy yourself, and then one day you will go on TikTok live or something, and somebody will jump in on the channel and talk to you that has got 117,000 followers, and you'll talk to them and you'll inspire them, and then all of a sudden they'll spread the word, and your 17 goes up to 25, 30, 40. You then producing more content, more people see it. That's the way, mate. It's just getting out there, being consistent, making the content, and it will happen when you least expect it. If you're after your numbers, it'll happen when at least it expects it. If it doesn't, right, I'm just enjoying fucking talking to you for here tonight, having fun, putting it out to the world. There's 2 people watching here now. There might be 2 people watching it only ever, or there might be, when we all get found out, there might be 220,000 people watching all of this lot, and then they see you, Lee, and then do you see where I'm coming from? The amount of people that's been on the Joe Rogan Experience, and their followers have gone through the roof because they've been on one episode with him. So it's all about just getting out there, having fun, creating content, building that library. Did you want to say something there, Howard?
Yes, I guess to start off with is basically what you were talking about is networking. If you're trying to get found, Rodney always talks about what he does on YouTube, going into the other channels and then pumping up his channel and stuff on theirs. But I'm sure on TikTok there's people that are doing something similar to you. Maybe do a live with them, right? I mean, I don't know if that's, I guess you can do that on TikTok, but maybe they have a podcast and you can be a guest on your podcast. And even if they have only 1,000 people, well, that's 1,000 people more that you're getting exposed to than what you were before. But I guess first question would be, Lee, what do you? I've been real big on this lately, but what do you think is your unique selling proposition to people? Like, what differentiates you from your coaching from what other coaches provide?
I tend to call people out on their bullshit, and I swear a lot, and not many coaches do that. So I guess my unique selling point is my personality. I say what I think.
To do it.
Yeah, and perfect. I mean, we talked about, I've talked about it, how, you know, to differentiate myself, you know, it's kind of like, well, I mean, I'm the unique selling point in a way. And because, you know, there's no one, you know, I guess you use you because you're in the hot seat. You know, there's no other person in ever will be in existence that has lived and learned from the life experience that you have and has the viewpoint that you can offer to other people. Now, there's a positive and negative, and this goes to what you were saying about are people paying attention to what you're saying? If you are the, you know, what, you know, your viewpoint on it, that's your unique selling point, then the positive is that, yeah, I mean, no one's ever going to have that same viewpoint that you have. So there's going to be variances. The downside, I guess you could say, if it's a downside, is that nobody knows who you are. You know, even though you have 17,000 followers, which is fucking amazing, but nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who I am. You know, so it takes longer to build yourself up to where you're in a quote unquote authority figure in people's eyes. I mean, I was actually just thinking about this weekend. Would you pay money now to be able to access vlogs, if it were available, of Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos when they were just beginning their companies and be able to see them grow? Would you be willing to pay for that? Like, say, man, I'd love to see them behind the scenes, like how they did it. I would venture to say most people would say yes. But if you go back to when Steve Jobs was just starting, like, what was it, Wozniak in their garage, would you pay then? No, more than likely not, because nobody knows who the fuck he is. Nobody knows who Jeff Bezos is. You know, and so I kind of figure that we're at that beginning stage there where it's like nobody knows who we are, but we have great ideas. And that so it just goes to what all of us have been saying. It's just, you have to stick with it. That's why there's so few. I heard these numbers that, like, on YouTube, there's just an infinitesimally small number of people that have like over 10,000 subscribers or something like that. When you think of all the people on YouTube, because it takes consistency and it takes that just hitting it again and again and again, even when it feels like nothing is working, you just get up and you keep going. And that's what separates a lot of the people, is that people aren't willing to put in all that work without getting that instant gratification that, oh, I'm automatically getting success. You have to go back to what I was saying earlier. You have to have faith that it's going to work and that you have to just put in the work every day. So that's all I can say.
You were saying there, Lee, that the reason why you're different as coaching is because that you swear a lot and you tell the people how it is and all that lot. There's an Australian restaurant chain called Karen's Diner that's arrived in the UK, and I've seen them on TikTok. Now, most people go to a restaurant to have a sit down and to be treated nicely and to have a nice meal and that. But there's also this restaurant that's rocked up in the UK. It's called Karen's Diner, and it's where people go to basically be treated like shit. You know, they sing happy birthday to you when it's your birthday, and they're like, happy birthday, fuck off, and all of this sort of stuff. And they treat you like absolutely disgusting. Look it up. Karen's Diner, it's called, Australian, mate. And what I'm getting at is they're massive now. They've got loads and loads of people that's continuously wanting to go there. They're booked at the doors every night. And where I'm coming from is there's different types of people that like different types of things. So just because you're a coach that swears a lot and tells them how it should be and telling them to the face, there's no reason why that can't sell. Be unique, be yourself. Don't try to be like any other coach. Just carry on doing what you're doing. Carry on putting content out. Try and carry on being you. Don't try to be like all the other coaches. Just be yourself, because there's lots of people out there that will like you for who you are. There's lots of people that will listen to your podcast because you are who you are. You can go on there and you can tell a story, you can tell a joke, and people may have heard it 20, 30, 40 times before. The difference is that you're telling that story. It's coming out your mouth. And people might like that rather than having it come out of my mouth or Howard's mouth or Rodney's mouth. Do you know what I mean? So just get out there, mate. Have some fun. Just have some fun. Do what you want to do with who you want to do, when you want to do it, on what platform you want to do it, and just make the most of your life and have fun from it.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the library idea. And
You said you've looked at your numbers there. Does TikTok provide you the demographics, like the age range of people that mostly consume your content?
yeah. So it tells you I can get country information, age, gender, top cities.
So what age range mostly views your content the most?
Gay men about 60.
Yeah.
Always goes back to that.
25 to 45.
Ooh. And
75% men.
I remember you saying before you were going for more adolescence. Is that still the same, or are you going for?
It is. The trouble is, adolescents don't mature until they're about 25 anyway. So it's not going to be until then they realize, oh fuck, I should stop buying Yeezys and start investing. So probably pulling away from the teenage demographic and just focus on the young lads. I guess I'm targeting then the people that are perhaps starting a family or have realized some sort of self-awareness and autonomy, and then go, shit, this is getting out of hand. I really need to sort of, pull the reins in a little bit.
And look at these people that look at their age, whether they're male or female, and say, right, that 25-year-old guy, has he got a lot of time to sit down on his computer or on his phone to consume my content? Shorts are massive. Reels are massive. Is there no way that you could film yourself going up to a random person in the street and just giving a 10-second quick piece of coaching advice, film it, and then put it out? It doesn't have to be doing a live for 20 minutes talking to that person. Is there any bit of information that you could give out to somebody in 15 seconds? Have you do a selfie thing there, talking to this person, give them some advice, bang, thank you, and just carry on walking, and then put it out to the world.
That's interesting.
You should ask your question, your famous question, right then and there. Their answer gives a lot of insight into what their priorities are and stuff.
Walk into a shop, say, can I film you and ask you a question? Yeah, of course. Right. Put the camera up to their face, ask them the question, and then just turn it off. 15 seconds.
I've asked that.
And the next one, let them give you the answer.
I've asked that question so many times. Do you know what the top 2 answers are?
Don't know.
And this brings me back to people having self-awareness and outsourcing their power. The most popular answer I get, what can you do today that you've never done before that will change your life forever? Top answer is win the lottery, which has got nothing to do with the question because you can't do it. That's just luck of the draw.
But that's perfect.
And the second one is, oh, I don't know. And that says to me, people are so fucking busy in their own bullshit that they don't even think about it. And then they get to their 50s and 60s and go, fuck, I've got no savings. My pension pot's empty. The only asset I've got is my house, which technically isn't actually an asset. And I've changed my car every 3 years for the last fucking 50 years. I find it so frustrating because I've developed a sense of self-awareness and, all right, I haven't got millions in the bank, but I know what I'm doing. And it might sound like arrogant of me, but it's like, fuck's sake, is anybody switched on today?
See what I would do there, mate, right? This is my bit of advice. I would go up to somebody, I would say, right, ask them the question, right? Film it, put it out on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be as a short. And when they come back and say, oh, that's a good one, I'll win the lottery. Right. Part 2 for me would be I would go into a shop with 50 quid and I would buy 50 lottery tickets or 50 scratch cards. And I would film me, right, scratching out 50 scratch cards. And the money that I make from that 50 scratch cards, I would say, right, I've invested £50. I only got £20 back. What can I now do with that £20? What can I've invested that £50. I've lost some money. Businesses invest money, they lose money. Right. But I've won £20. Right. What can I now do with that £20 to make some money? And then just do another article where you went out and then spent £20 on the slot machine or do you know what I mean? But keep it going as a story. Every time you get a bit of success or a little bit of failure, keep on making a story from it. Keep on making a short. I'd love to watch it.
I could also set an example as well for people saying, "Oh, I could win the lottery," and buy 20 quid's worth of scratch cards, and then go, right. Everybody that says, "Oh, I could win the lottery, that'll change my life forever," why are you leaving your life to chance when you can be autonomous and you can create your own wealth? This is the result of leaving your life to chance. I've spent 20 quid. I've won a fiver. Why are you leaving your life to chance?
Yeah. So I mean, why not do a TikTok live, right, by scratching those 50 scratch cards? Because I don't understand why. I mean, I flick through TikTok and you go through the lives and you see one bloke opening up 80 packs of fucking Panini football stickers or something like that. And there's like 700 people watching him. And so why not say, right, the other day I went out and asked the question. One bloke says, I'll win the lottery. So I've decided that I'm going to, for the next 10 minutes, scratch 50 scratch cards and just scratch the scratch cards. I guarantee there'll be 10, 20, 15 people following it. And the money you get, go on and do the next TikTok live on the money that you got, the £20. What can I spend it on? Even if you're walking down the street, what can I spend it on? Oh, I could spend it on this burger, or I could spend it on this old piece of furniture that I know that I could sell for £40. Do you know what I mean? The world's your oyster, mate. There's loads and loads of stuff that you could do to get people interacting. You are coaching people. You are telling people, you're showing people what you should and what you shouldn't do with your money. We've said it before about, getting that person to the first £1,000. Be great. Howard.
Another thing is what Mark was saying about, or we agreed upon building the library, is your content is evergreen, meaning that 10 years from now, it's still going to apply because there will be young people, the young people that you aren't reaching now, 5-10 years from now, they're going to be at the age where it's like, holy crap, Lee's advice is singing to me or whatever, because now I'm dealing with the stuff that he's talking about, and people are still going to be in issues of, not trying to accomplish their goals or not having any direction or leaving their life up to chance. So I definitely think that, just even though you may not be getting the engagement you want right now, just build that library up. Because as Mark said, once you get discovered, people are going to go and look at all the things you've done. And then those things I think are going to blow up as well. So just right here, just talking for the last 10 minutes, like anybody watching this, you get a little insight on what you have to offer. Because I agree, your TikToks are amazing, man. I mean, like what you do, the advice you give is like, how the hell did he figure this information out? And it's like that goes into the amount of work and effort that you put into it, and it will pay off. You just have to, most importantly, you have to believe in yourself, because no one else is you can't expect anybody to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to believe that that it's possible, and you just have to just plain old fashioned work. If it were easy, everybody would do it, and not many people do it because it's not easy.
We're all podcasters. We've all done podcasts in the past. How many times have you gone on to your analytics to see how your podcast is getting on? And then one day you look on your graph and there's a big spike and you're like, fucking hell, I've had like 150 people listen today. What's any different? And then you look and you go down through your episodes, and obviously one person has found you from talking to somebody, liked what you've done, and they've gone through your whole back catalogue. Have you ever had that happen to you before? Through content creating, not necessarily a podcast, and that's what happens. You've only got to get that little break where somebody likes a piece of content that you put up, and then all of a sudden they just consume your whole back catalogue. So just that would be the advice that I would give you there, Lee, is just keep on pushing, keep on enjoying what you're doing, have a little bit of a focus in the direction that you want to go in, and what content you want to put out there, but just keep on living the dream, having the fun. And bye Howard. What's he's gone in the back room? He's gone in the green room.
He left a message, said he had to go.
Oh, right. Okay. Cheers and gone, Howard.
Cheers, Howard.
He's in the green room waving at us like, bye, Howard. Anyway, that's a wrap. I think we'll call it there. Has that helped you at all there, Lee?
Yeah, it has. It has. I really like the library idea. It's as long as that's in my mind, and I'm just like, nope, we're just creating a library. We're creating a library of information that's evergreen that you can go back to in 6 months, 6 weeks, or 6 years. That's a nice little perspective shift there.
And Gary Vee said it before as well, and he never take the content down. Leave it up there. Doesn't matter how shit it looks. That little bit of advice that you think shit, it could help somebody, and just keep it up there.
I had a video go viral again a couple of days ago. It was one that I made like 6 or 8 weeks ago, and I just keep these fucking likes and shares and comments, and I'm like, fuck, I did this weeks ago, but it's gone back on.
Yeah, man.
Kicked off again.
I done one about Liz Truss about a week ago, and it's only had like 4,000, but for me that's a lot, and it's
That's
still
a lot,
every day it's still going up. 4,000 views. I think it's up to about every day it goes up 2 or 3, or one day it could go up 200. So it's like once you get that first one, people start consuming all your back catalogue, and you start seeing it go up. But have you got anything that you'd like to say there to round up there, Rodney?
Not about this, but I do have something I wanted to share with you guys.
Go on. Okay, now look at that, man.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, I can see the similarities.
I can. He ain't got a hat on for a start.
Fuck's sake.
I'll tell you what. I might make this an ongoing thing. I might every episode, every podcast from now on wear a beanie, and I've set a story. Wear a beanie from now on. Oh, fuck! My head is roasting though. That's the problem. I wouldn't be able to do it in the summer. I'll have to wear a swim hat or something.
But no, I think great advice, and that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? We come on here, and again, we did this. We were doing this before we started doing YouTube, so we did it for like 2 years behind the scenes. So we want to just keep on pushing it, and remember, like that small percentage of people who started podcasting, what was it like? Most of them after 7 episodes. So we're already in rarefied air.
I think it's something like 80% of people don't get. 90% of people don't get past 7 episodes,
right.
And I think it's something like 80% of podcasters don't reach 100.
So we in rarefied air already.
Yeah, there we are. Anyway, we're going to call it a wrap. Thank you very much, you of the tube, for watching us. You people out there, thank you very much for taking the time out of your precious lives to come and watch us talk jibber jabber as normal. If you like what you saw, I don't think, well, this is open to discussion. I don't think that we're going to be here for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to leave it down to Rodney because I'm away on vacation, as you say, in the United States of America. I'm away on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to leave it down to Rodney to make a decision on whether he is able to get podcasts going for the next 2 weeks. If not, we'll have a 2-week break and we'll get back very, very soon. But look after yourselves, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please consider subscribing if you like what we've been talking about this evening. And stay safe, stay classy, and catch you on the flip side.
Bye-bye.
Peace.